Welcome to Wishpath Yoga. My name is Meredith. Today's class is a chair yoga class that you can do at work, at home, or any time that getting up and down off the ground doesn't feel comfortable for you. So I'm going to ask you to gather a few props before we begin. Obviously, you'll need a chair. So what I recommend is a basic kind of wooden chair, something like you might have in the kitchen, nothing with a lot of really deep cushioning. I also want you to be able to sit on the chair in a way that your feet can be flat on the ground with your heels below your knees. So depending on your size, it may feel more comfortable if you have some blocks or a book that you can rest your feet on so that they're flat and that they feel supported. You may also want a blanket to sit on, and I also would like you to grab, if you have one, a small ball about the size of a tennis ball, and if you don't have one, you could even use a rolled up pair of socks in the shape of a ball, and try to get that ball as dense as you can. Okay, so with your feet flat on the ground and your knees over top of your heels, you want to sit away from the back of the chair. So there's actually a lot of space between your body and the chair itself, and feel like you're bringing your hips forward so you're sitting almost on the front edge of the chair. Now, often when we sit, especially if we're sitting on a couch for a long period of time, we end up slouching back onto our tailbone to lean back against the chair. So this is a really natural movement, but spending long periods of time like this can create a lot of strain through our back. So for this class, what I want you to come is into a position called neutral pelvis, which will feel like you're sitting on your sit bones rather than back on your tailbone. So your sitting bones, if you were to sit on your hands for a moment, they feel almost like little golf balls on the bottom of your bum. Okay, so that's where you want to have your weight. So with your feet flat and a comfortable space apart, and your knees the same space apart as your feet, and your knees lined up with your hips, see if you can come up off your tailbone onto your sitting bones. And then over that base, I want you to see if you have equal weight in both hips. Sometimes we'll have a tendency to sit over into one hip more than the other. So if you can equal that out by just kind of letting your weight rock a little bit side to side, and just sort of move back and forth until you feel like, yep, it's equal on the left and right side. Good, and then we're going to bring our spine to neutral. So this is a really helpful position you can do anytime that you're sitting, because it creates a lot more freedom through all of the muscles in your upper back. It takes strain away from the neck and shoulders as well. So if you imagine, feel where your belly button is, that halfway between your pubic bone and your belly button, in your low belly, you have a center of energy there. You can envision it as a warm ball of light, or just think about that part of your body. And then imagine you have a similar center of energy in the middle of your chest, and a third one in the middle of your brain. So what you want to do for neutral spine is to stack those three energetic centers one on top of the other, kind of like a traffic light or a snowman. Okay, so if you do have a job where you're sitting at a desk for long periods of time, one thing that's really beneficial is to bring any computer or monitors up at eye level rather than having them lower, because if we have to look down, we tend to sort of slouch forward. And again, this is a normal movement in our spines, but we don't want to stay here for very long periods of time. So when you're sitting, try to be on your sitting bones with your three energetic centers stacked one on top of the other. Okay, so now that we have our feet flat, pelvis at neutral, and spine at neutral, you can just rest your hands to your legs wherever feels comfortable. And we'll start just with a moment, just kind of setting intention for our practice. So if you like, you can close your eyes, but if that overwhelms you, just keep your gaze relaxed. And so just sort of feeling the support coming into your body from the floor underneath your feet, and feel your hips and your legs resting on the chair. Good. Feel your clothing against your skin and how that creates a sort of container for your body that defines where you stop and start. So we want to relate to our yoga practices as the ways in which we can soothe what doesn't feel comfortable. So we'll do that through movement, through breathing, and through a little bit of meditation. So when you come into stillness, especially when you close your eyes, you start to notice all the things going on in a more direct way. So please motivate your practice from a place of compassion and feeling that you deserve any soothing benefits that come from your practice today. And then notice the quiet and gentle experience of breathing. And that there are soft movements happening in your body. And just start to relax into those movements. And then as a way to give your mind a really lovely break from focusing on all the other things going on in your life, generate a wish to focus on your breathing for the duration of your class. And you can imagine your inhale is drawing into the container things that you would like to feel more of. And as you exhale, you're releasing from your container the things that you don't want to carry around any longer. Good. All right. So now that we've sort of centered a little bit in our minds, we're going to start at the base with our feet. So if you can grab that ball and just place it on the mat. So I recommend having your chair right on the mat so nothing is sliding around. And so just letting your one foot come to the ball, and we're going to just roll the ball along the bottom of the foot from the heel toward the toes. And you can do that sort of on the inner edge of your foot, and then gradually through the center of your foot, and then over toward the baby toe edge of your foot. You can decide how much pressure you do here, but if you can sort of get into the muscles of your feet, it will help with the muscles in your legs getting a better stretch as we go along. Also, our feet tend to be in shoes all the time, so this gives your toes and your feet a chance to stretch and to move in the ways that they were designed to. Okay, and then if you can just bring your toes over the ball and then just gradually kind of almost grab the ball with your toes. Good. And then with a little bit of pressure, just press your foot down into the ball. And then relax that effort, and we'll trade sides. So either picking it up with your hand or rolling with your foot if you can keep control. Bring it over to the other side, and we'll just roll from heel to toes a few times. So this can feel nice also if you're on your feet a lot, and you can do these sort of exercises in standing as well too. Good, and then just kind of letting your toes grip around the ball a little bit. Good, and then with the ball more in the center of your arch, just press gently down. Good, relax that effort, and then you can just move the ball over. Now, one thing I should say is if you are having a difficult time not sort of sitting back on your tailbone, you can take a blanket and just kind of tuck it under where you're sitting, and that can help to sort of prop your pelvis a little bit more into that neutral position. So if you find it's really hard to come out of this tailbone landing position, you can tip up by just slipping a blanket underneath where you are. Okay, let one foot stretch out in front of you, and then we'll just work a little bit through our ankles. So you can take your toes toward the floor and then bring your toes up. And you can let that leg be as straight as you want, or keep a little bend in that knee. Good, and then with your toes lifted, see if you can spread your toes wide apart, and then gently grip them, and then open them again. Good, and then we'll trade sides, so stretching your other leg a little further forward, and then just moving through your ankle by lifting the ball of your foot and your toes up, and then putting them back down. Good, and then with your toes high, see if you can spread them out, and if you're looking at your toes and they're not moving at all, that's okay, just imagine that they're moving, and then gently scrunch them in, and then stretch them out, and release them down. Good. So I'd like to try some cat-cow movements now, working a little bit up the legs and the body. So just take a minute and let your hands massage against your thighs from your hips towards your knees and then back. And you can use a fair bit of pressure in your arms if that feels okay for you. Okay, and then as we go through the class, see if you can keep your exhalation just as long as it wants to be. It helps to slow down sort of racing heart that comes when we feel stressed or worried. Good. All right, so I'm going to take the blanket out just because of the position it is on my chair, but you can keep it in if you like. So letting your hands rest to your thighs, roll to your tailbone and reach your hands towards your knees and drop your chin down towards your chest. Good. And then roll to the front edge of your sitting bones and start to lift your sternum and your gaze up. So these are gentle cat-cow movements. So exhale, navel draws in, chin drops down, reaching your hands forward. Breathe into your back. And then exhale to come to cow, lifting your sternum. Breathe into your chest. Try to get it to lift. So we're going to go through those two positions a couple more times. You can do them at your own pace. So you feel the front of you get long and imagine the back of your body opening up and getting long too. And we'll go one more time each way. Good. And then neutral, letting your hands fall down. So depending on your chair, you might be able to hold on to something here. Otherwise, just reach your hands nice and long toward the floor and let your ear drop to your shoulder on one side. So this will feel like a stretch through the side of your neck. So try to keep your jaw very loose. And then turn your chin toward your collarbone. Nice breaths in and out. And then let your gaze tip a little bit up as you lift your chin. And that will bring the stretch more through the front of your neck. Good. Bring your chin down and bring your head back to tall. Take a breath in and try the other side. So ear to shoulder first. And then chin lowering towards your collarbone. And then let your chin tip up just a little. Good. Ear to shoulder. And then head back to tall. Now we're going to turn just with our necks to peek over one shoulder. Good. Gaze forward and turn to look to the other side. Good. And gaze back to center. Let your hands come up to your shoulders now, and we'll draw some circles with our elbows. So start small and then gradually increase the size of the circles as it feels comfortable for you. Now, as you move, try not to arch your back or push out your ribs. Just try to let all the movement be held in your shoulders. So elbows point down and then gradually up toward the sky. Good. And then reverse the direction. So letting your arms circle slowly backwards. Start smaller if it feels better. And just know that when you move a part of your body, you get better circulation into that part of you. It means more oxygen coming in and more of the things that we don't need stuck there getting a chance to be moved away. Good. Let your arms relax down and then sort of wiggle at your fingers a little bit and then bring your arms level with your chest with your thumbs pointing toward the sky. Good. As you exhale, bring one arm across, looking to the side, and then inhale to open. And we'll do the other side. So exhale to turn, keep your gaze up off the floor. Inhale through center and exhale one more time each way. Good. Now let your palms face the floor and we're going to scissor our arms one over the other, if you can, right around where your elbows are. And then let your arms come into a V shape. Now this is a gentle variation. If you can touch your arms or your palms, you can go into that further position. And then whichever one you've chosen, let your arms lift and lower. You decide how far each way. And take a breath in as your elbows lift. Exhale to bring them down. Good. One more time each way. Good. And then from the high position, draw a circle one way. And then change. And then let your arms release open, breath in, and we're going to do the same thing again, just trading which arm is on the bottom. Okay, so you can go up and down with your arms open, touching, or palms touching. And then decide the pace of movement that feels good for you. So you can breathe in to lift, breathe out to lower. And then from a high place, draw a circle, one time each way. And let your arms release open, breath in. And then exhale, take your hands to your lower back with your palms facing the space behind you. And then if you can, let your arms lift, palms face the space behind you again. Just a little bit of a turn at the shoulders. So we'll go back and forth between these two positions. And if you can't lift your arms all the way tall or bring your palms to your shoulder blades, you can just stop the movement, say here, that's fine, and return down. Okay, but if you can come to the top, you can try palms to shoulder blades. Good, we'll go one more time each way. Try very hard as your arms lift not to change shape in your body. So from palms to shoulder blades, let one hand stay where it is and support the elbow on the other side with the other hand, okay? So you can stay upright or take a little lean. And then, those of you leaning, try to breathe in to these ribs where you're feeling more space. Good. From tall, trade the pattern. So walk that hand to its shoulder, hold the elbow, feel tall through the crown of your head and ground down through your feet. If you want, lean to the side. Or you can just do side to side leans if doing the arms doesn't feel good. Good. Take a breath in, let both arms lift, and exhale, bring them down. Now, I'd like to invite you to create a prayer shape in your hands, either fingers pointing down or fingers pointing up in the space behind you. So the fingers pointing down variation will probably feel more gentle. So whichever one you're choosing, try to bring your elbows open nice and wide. And then take some breaths in to your upper chest and try to get it to lift and lower as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Good. One more time each way. Good. And then letting your hands release. Bring your arms up one more time. Now, we're going to bring our arm across our chest again, but we're not going to turn this time. So stay looking forward. Let the other arm come down and use it to hug that straight arm against your chest. Okay, so arms are a little bit pressing into one another. Try to keep your chest facing forward. Now the hand that's out to the side, you can make a fist there and curl it in. And then try to move your ribs as you breathe in and out. Good. Soften your hand. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, come all the way down. And then we'll trade sides. So let your arms float. Bring your right arm across your chest, and if you can, just give a little squeeze of that arm against your body. If you want, make a fist and curl it in. Good, soften that effort. Inhale, lift up. Now exhale, if you can, hold the chair behind you and just let your gaze a little bit tip up. So inhale to lift your collarbones. Good, let that effort release and let your arms lower down. I'd like to do a twist now. So as you turn, it's important to keep that neutral spine. So make sure you're up off your tailbone if you've slipped back and keep your head centered right over your chest. Now you can take one hand and hold the back of the chair and just let your body gently turn. The other hand can come across to the leg, but you're not pulling with that arm. Just let it be still and make sure that knee doesn't move. So as you turn to look behind you, keep your gaze up off the floor, and if you can, peek out of the corners of your eyes in the direction that you're turning. Lift your gaze even a little bit up toward the ceiling to stretch the muscles of your eyes. Shoulders stay down. Now, keep your body in this shape, but let your head turn to face forward and then look over the other arm. Good. Let everything relax back to the center, pause, and then we're going to do the twist in the other direction. So what you may notice is you have more or less range of motion turning this way. So don't worry if you notice it's a little bit different. Okay, so as you turn again, gaze up off the floor, press down into your sitting bones, feel nice and tall. This is the same movement we do when we're backing out of the driveway. Motion is usually called a twist in yoga. Good. And then just letting your head turn to the opposite side for a moment. And then bring everything back to center. We're going to return to those cat-cows. So heart forward. And then rolling toward your tailbone, reaching your hands towards your knees, chin into your throat. Good. Heart forward. Gaze up. And relax your back. Good. One more time each way. Breath in. And breath out. Good. And then from neutral, we're going to try a sitting forward bend. So what I'm going to recommend is you bring more space between your feet, so you have room for the front of your body as you come forward. So see how it feels to lean a little bit forward, and you can either just stay here, letting your head drop down, relaxing your neck, or some of you can come further in, elbows on your thighs, and then see how it feels to drop your heavy head down. Last variation I'll show here is reaching the hands toward the floor and just letting yourself fold. So we have all sort of different levels. So just do the one that feels appropriate for you. Those of you who are able to fold forward, you can hold your elbows in your hands and really press down into your feet the whole time. Nice slow breaths in and out. Staying with the level that suits you today. Try one more breath in and out, upside down. Good. And then press into your feet. Exhale, bring your elbows to your knees if you're not there already, and lift your head level with your chest. We want to come up slowly from our inversions. So take a breath in and exhale, come back to where you started. And then we're going to move our feet a little further open into a pose called Warrior Two. So what you can do is let this one leg, if you can, as best you can, from your hip, turn out so your toe and your knee are facing the same direction. Now, if you can stretch this leg a little bit longer, but don't worry if you can't. So you're really quite far forward on the edge of your chair here, okay? So you want this heel straight down from your knee, and you want your knee and your toes to be pointing in the same direction. Okay, if you can through your shoulders, bring your arms up like a letter T, and take your gaze along your middle finger that's over your bent knee. And then we're going to see how it feels to tip our fingers up and really spread and straighten them. Try to straighten your elbows. And then see how it feels to do slow circles backwards. Deep breaths into your chest. Sigh if it feels more relaxing. Good. Bring your arms to still and just roll your wrists out gently, releasing any tension there. And then we're going to lean toward the bent knee. So you can lean to your hand or to your elbow, and then this hand can stay low and you can turn to look up, or you can hold your shoulder, playing with where you put that elbow in space. The last option is to let that arm go fairly straight near your ear, palm facing the ground. And then we're going to move in and out of this position. So breath in, swim that arm down, exhale back to tall, breathe in, exhale, take whatever degree of lean feels good, swim down. Good, one more time, breath in, exhale, lean through. Good, come back to Warrior Two, and then lean towards your straighter leg. Now this hand can keep low as I showed on the other side, or take it straight. Try not to push on your knee with this bottom hand. Good. As you come back to tall, gently guide your ear towards your shoulder and reach down long through this bottom arm. Beautiful. Let's come back up and slowly walk your feet back forward for a minute. And we'll come back to feet hip width apart, heels down from the knees, and do cat-cows before we do the other side. We'll just do 2 rounds. So really rocking through your pelvis, coming to the front edge of your sitting bones, and then rolling to your tailbone, drawing your belly button in, chin down. Good. Come back to tall, neutral spine, and we'll come back to wide feet. Come to the front edge of your chair, and then we'll try our warrior 2. So we'll let these toes turn out so the knee and toe are pointing a little toward the side. So that movement is coming from your hip. This leg can go a little bit straighter, only if it feels good, and you want to try to get your weight to the outside edge of that leg. Okay, so keep your head right over your chest, and then opening your arms again, taking your gaze along the other hand, and resting your gaze at your middle finger. If you want, tip your fingers toward the sky and slowly circle your arms backwards. Not very big circles, just kind of hovering around shoulder height. Deep breath in, loose jaw, sigh if it feels nice. Okay, and then pausing that movement, just roll out your wrists and just release any tension there. Okay, we'll come to side angle so you can take a gently all the way to your elbow, doesn't feel good. And this hand can stay low, or you can hold your shoulder and move your elbow somewhere on that range. Some of you can come comfortably arm alongside your ear. If you want, turn to look up, but keep your chin a little low. Press down into both feet and press down into your sitting bones the whole time. Now you can stay in stillness or do the vinyasa flow. So breath in, exhale, swim down, come back to tall. Inhale, long breath out. We'll try it twice more. Try to move at the same pace as you're breathing. Good. Now from an open arm position, let's go to the other side. If you can, the top arm can lift or stay low. This pose is called reverse warrior. Good. Exhale, come to tall, and again a gentle neck stretch. So we're not pulling with that top hand, it's just resting. If anything, you can press your head up against it and reach down through your bottom arm. Good. Come back out and gently bring your feet back to that starting position. Heels below your knees, and we'll do 2 sets of cat-cows. Just opening up through your back in cat, opening up through your front in cow. One more time. And then we'll come to neutral. So I'd like to do a little bit of a thigh stretch. So do your best with this one. What we're going to do is bring our weight to the one side of the chair. So if you need to, hang on. And then, so we've kind of got one hip right up off the chair. And then we're going to take this leg and just turn it so the top of your foot is on the floor. And your knee can be a little forward of your hip, or you can gradually draw that leg back. So probably easiest to get a stretch if your knee is sort of straight down from your hip. If you want to reach further back, make sure you don't arch your back and that there's no pulling in your back. Okay? Really press down into this standing foot. Now, if you want, the arm on this side can lift with your palm facing into the center line, thumb pointing behind you. Okay, so really press into this foot, feel it strong. Hold if you need with the other hand against your chair. Last option here is to lean towards your chair. Good, come back out. And then slowly slide your leg forward, and you can bring it up for a moment if you need. And then we're going to scooch over to the other side. So take your time. You want to feel like this hip is solidly on your chair. This hip is a little bit off. And then you can just sort of start to let your toenails be on the ground and just slide your foot to where you need. This foot's flat and pressing down. And you can sort of let your knee stretch back, or you can keep your knee sort of more down from your shoulder on this side. No strain at your knee, no strain at your lower back, okay? And then if you want, bring this arm up, hold tightly with this hand, press into this foot. Some of you will like that lean toward the chair. Maybe different on this side, so do different if you need. Great, come back up, exhale. If you want, bring that knee up for a minute, and then we'll get ourselves back into the middle of the chair, and we're going to fold back forward again. So come back to your wider spacing between your feet, right to that front edge of your chair on your sitting bones. Take a breath in, and then exhale, let your chin drop down. Inhale to lift. Fully exhale, chin to throat. Good, one more time. Now, you can stay here, chin to throat. Some of you will come forward, elbows to thighs, head dropped, or if you want, hands to the ground. Make sure your feet are flat. So if you needed blocks at the beginning, make sure you have one under each foot. So your feet are held. Some of you will reach your arms back and through. So your fingers are pointing opposite direction to your toes. Breathe in towards your tailbone and exhale as long and slowly as you can. Good. Start to walk forward. Bring your head level with your chest and pause for a minute. Take a breath in and then pressing into your feet, exhale as you sit up. And bring your feet back toward each other. So the last stretch I'd like to do for the legs is one called pigeon. So this one, you really have to be mindful of your knees, okay? So what we do is take one foot and stretch it a little further forward and let your ankle cross on top of your other ankle so that you feel your knee falling a little to the side. This will be enough for some of you. So again, you're in your neutral pelvis. Some of you will be able to bring that standing foot a little bit closer, or you can slide this foot gradually further up your supporting leg. Okay, so it's a real personal sort of experience here. It's a movement happening at your hip, so make sure this knee feels okay. It should feel nothing in this knee at all. Now, if you've brought your ankle higher than this knee, you can stand this foot flat again. Now, what you never want to do is push on your knee. Just let it be where it is, okay? Again, it's trapped between your ankle and your hip. So just kind of let it go where it can. Now, some of you will hold the chair and maybe lean a little bit forward, okay? So this is not from back here, it's from your pelvis tipping forward. And where you might feel this is a stretch on the outside of your hip or a little bit on the inside. So nice, long, slow breaths, whichever variation or whatever level you're doing. Great. Slowly rise and then shoot that supporting leg out, and you can slide this leg down, and then we'll trade sides. Okay? So again, ankle over ankle to start, or you can gradually slide that ankle up. Okay, if you get it over the knee, you can stand that foot nice and flat so the heel is down from the knee on that side. Okay, and again, this knee might be really high. Gradually. It might come down, it might not. If you have a really sort of sense of something shifting and transforming in here, it feels good, there's no pain anywhere, you're in your perfect yoga pose, okay? If you don't feel any sensation where you are, you might choose to lean a little further forward. So we're all different, and we're all different left to right side. So be really skillful and really be mindful of your knee. Keep breathing. Good, and then coming back to tall, taking your supporting leg out straighter so you can slide this foot gradually down and return your feet flat on the floor. Last set of cat-cows. Heart forward, really stretch the front of your body. Make sure you've got both hips equally holding weight, like we were talking about at the very, very start. Breath in and breath out. Good. Okay, returning to neutral. And returning to sort of neutral spine. Now we're going to be fairly still and just do a little bit of meditation to finish. So at the end of yoga, it's very traditional to sort of get very still and very quiet. So if you have trouble getting down to the floor or it's just not appropriate where you are, you can always take a few minutes just to come into stillness and center, and just allows your body to sort of reset and give your mind a more sort of focused chance to be very introspective and come into the present. So like we did at the beginning, orient to the feeling of your feet solidly held on the floor or your blocks, and feel your hips and your legs on the chair. Now, if you want, you can rest your hands on your thighs, or you can do sort of a traditional mudra for meditation, which is nice, sort of a heart opening. So to do that, you can bring your hands together and interlace all your fingers except the first fingers. Good. Now what we're going to do is draw the thumbs back away from the index fingers, so you get a space stretching open there, and then we're going to flip it so the thumbs are pointing down and the index fingers are pointing up. You can gently work the base of the index fingers toward one another and give a gentle stretch. Okay? Just make sure you can relax your shoulders down, and we'll just hold for a few minutes here. This mudra can help facilitate, smoother breathing, and just again that opportunity to receive on our inhales and release on our exhales. So if you like, close your eyes. Feel your clothing against your skin. So that you can start to really be aware of where your skin is in space and how it creates a container that holds all of the things you think of as yourself. As your mind turns inwardly, you notice different sensations, different thoughts, and different feelings coming into your awareness. So you can think of your awareness, your mind, as like clear blue sky, always relaxed, open, and spacious, and always present. And that thoughts, sensations, and feelings come and go like clouds in the blue sky. So learn to identify thoughts, feelings, and sensations from an objective, compassionate perspective. And be curious. And see them as clouds, temporarily existing. And then if you like, notice where those clouds are in your body. And use your breath like the wind. So as you inhale, you can imagine you could inhale right into the place where any tension or fatigue or sickness is sitting, and allow the breath in to be imbued with love and compassion. And as you exhale, imagine you could breathe out that cloud, and it just dissolves and disappears into the space around you. You can take minutes like this each day, just a few minutes at a time, just to get still, bring your attention inwardly. Meet any stress or tension with compassion, but diffuse it before it builds and grows and feels like it fills your container. Breathe it out. Breathe in what you need. Okay, very gently let your hands release to your thighs and let your chin drop down so that when you open your eyes, you can do it as you feel ready. And then very slowly bring your gaze forward and up. Good, take a nice deep breath in and sigh. Roll your shoulders if it feels nice. Okay, so I hope that felt really like a nice massage for your body. You got some soothing, got to release some tension so that you can go forward into the rest of your day with, just that the inside of your container is feeling more spacious and clear and comfortable. All right, and relate to your yoga practice really consciously as a way that you can soothe anything that's not feeling comfortable, so that you have a sense of yourself in a sort of slower, quieter, calm state, and you can use that as sort of a baseline and know how to get back to it whenever you need. Okay, so if you like, you can dedicate the energy of your practice to beneficial outcomes for yourself and others. And thank you so much for joining. Namaste.